Hello, Earth Angels, and welcome back to another episode of Alignment Academy. It's your host, Kristen, and I'm so excited to be back for another week. I'm going to be doing a Q&A this week, and I love the Q&As because I feel like they're very genuine questions, and I kind of get to talk candidly to you and just flow with that. You guys asked all these questions not only in my broadcast channel, but from my stories on Instagram, so that's what I'm going to be going through today, and we're going to get into a lot of good stuff. Some updates. I clearly am not in my normal setting, except honestly, maybe I don't have a normal setting because I'm always somewhere, as you guys know. So I'm in my parents' house today, and as you know from the episode that I recorded outside, I was like, I'm absolutely not recording outside. And this bedroom that I'm in, it's actually a very beautiful bedroom. However, the windows are facing me, which would be against the beautiful part. And so I was like, you know what? I really don't care enough to find a good background. I just need to get this done. I need to get it up. I need to take messy action. And so that's why we're here in a not beautiful background. My luggage on the floor, my laundry everywhere, but this is the real me. You either love me at my worst or you don't deserve me at my best. Remember when people used to say that? I'm just kidding, but you guys get the drill. You guys know that I really value authenticity, so we're just going for the authentic look today. Oh my gosh, I haven't told you guys about my acupuncture appointment. So we've all heard it that emotions create sickness in the body, and especially after studying so much Joe Dispenza, we all know that trapped emotions can create physical problems. And so if you've been following me for a while, you might know this, but you might not. I have a really bad back. I have had back problems since I was 15 years old, playing volleyball every day from leaning over. But when I turned, I think the first time I really had a bad injury was maybe when I was 17 and I was in a volleyball tournament. I was in a beach volleyball tournament and I pulled my back so bad I could not walk. And then when did I herniate my discs? I have the worst memory. I feel like it was in 2022. I herniated 2 discs in my back really, really bad. And I had to go through PT for 3 months. I couldn't walk. I remember I was also building my business at the time. And so I've always just had these back issues. And recently, since I've kind of just evolved my way of thinking and surviving, I'm I feel like all my back issues are actually related to unprocessed emotion and things like that. So let me try to tell you the whole story in not a 10-minute way. So when I was coming to Florida, I was really stressed out. I had called my sister crying a couple times because it was the week before my membership was launching, and I also had a big inner work alchemy call because I'm creating all the curriculum as they go. So I have a lot of work to do in between the calls for that. I also have regular one-on-one client calls. And then when I travel, I have to take a day off to travel. And I was going to my cousin's wedding. On top of that, my grandma is sick. So when I'm home, I have to go see my grandma a lot. And then it was just a lot. And I got really stressed out. And I was I feel like I actually just need to stay home and work. But I also wanted to see my sister because I hadn't seen her. So long story short, I call her and I'm I don't know if I should come. And she was do what's best for you. And I didn't do what was best for me. And I came. The day before I came, not only did I hurt my back really bad, I also cracked my front screen. So I knew it was the universe's way to tell me hey, you're not honoring yourself and you're giving too much to others. And this is going to be the physical embodiment of that. Basically, I come to Florida and I have a really bad back injury. I thought I re-herniated my discs so bad to the point that I was I literally booked an acupuncture appointment right away because when I herniated my disc the first time, the only thing that really took away the pain almost immediately was acupuncture. I booked this acupuncture appointment and I also have been having a little bit of trouble sleeping. Wow, I sound so sick right now, but I'm actually not. But I sound, now that I'm saying it back to myself, I'm wow, I have a lot of issues. So I also haven't been sleeping. I've had really bad sleeping issues for the last 2 to 3 months. And I have insomnia. I go to the acupuncturist and he's okay, what are we working on? I'm I have 2 bulging discs, I think, and in my lower back. And then I also have trouble sleeping. So he puts the needles in my lower back and then he puts the points for sleep, which are in the ears and in my hands. I think that was it. So he puts the needle in my ear and it hurts so bad. And he's that shouldn't hurt bad. That means that there needs a lot of chi needs to flow or life force energy. So he puts the needles in my ears. I start freaking out because it hurts. And I'm like, I think I have to cry. And I start bawling my eyes out for 15 minutes. Like, it was the craziest emotional release. And after I cried my eyes out, he came in. It was actually really awkward because he wasn't very like feminine or motherly. He was kind of like, oh yeah, like do your thing. And I was like, yeah, just leave the room, please. And so he is like giving me a space. He comes back. I still am crying. He's like, just let the energy move, like it will calm down eventually. And so he goes back out. It's like 15 minutes later, he comes back in. I'm finally okay. Some of the needles actually came out on their own. And he was like, oh yeah, sometimes the energy just pushes them out. And the point of this story is I leave the acupuncture appointment. I wake up the next day and I actually do start doing my PT, my physical therapy, and my back hurts. I'm not kidding, like 90% less. So I think that my back injuries are a lot of stuck emotion. I don't know. I'm like getting into this Chinese medicine kick right now. Maybe it's part of like my human era, because as you guys know, I've been feeling very human, and I love how like in the body Chinese medicine is. It's like what you're eating, acupuncture, all that stuff. So I'm kind of getting into that right now. I'm definitely going to find a body worker or an acupuncturist when I go back to California. But I just wanted to share that crazy story. And it was so crazy because a couple days after, I went to the beach with my friend Anna Grace, and we did readings for each other on the beach. And one of her things that she was telling me, she was like, I feel like your back stuff is like kind of connected to you like being more in your frame. It's kind of how she said it. She was like, you need to like be more, like be bigger in your energy, and you need to do what's best for you and like be more in your feminine. And long story short, I was supposed to like leave Florida early because I just wanted to go back home. But then I ended up just like staying a little longer because I was using this time as a complete reset. Like, I've been sleeping till 10 a.m. every morning. I have been really just like eating good and taking care of myself, doing my PT every day, not really working out that hard, just like very light workouts and movement and walking. It's so hot here, but I walk when I can, you know? And yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to share that story. That's my update. Acupuncture. Who knew? Before we get into it, I do want to let you guys know that Alignment Academy, the membership, is open for enrollment. There's so many girlies and actually a couple guys that are in, and I'm so grateful. This is such a fun and activating space. We have live inner child healing meditations. We have an entire portal of 7 of my past masterclasses, 6 of my pre-recorded meditations. We have live Q&A coaching calls, and we have an bomb ass community where you're going to meet your soul family and feel really held and supported through your healing and stepping into your soul's purpose. So if you want to join Alignment Academy, join us at the link below. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be, and I'm so excited to see you inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the Q&A. I really like this one. It says daily habits to nurture your inner child. There's so many things that we can do outside of inner child meditations to really help our inner child. Some of my favorites are, number 1, following excitement. If you think about children, like they just do what excites them. So if like going out to dinner sounds exciting, or going to get a coffee sounds exciting, or calling a friend sounds exciting, really tap into the energy of excitement. The other thing is you can just ask yourself a couple times a day, how am I feeling and what do I need? How am I feeling and what do I need? Like maybe you're like, I'm feeling really tired, I want to take a nap. That small thing, even though it seems so simple, what you're doing is you're identifying how you feel and you're meeting your own need. I even have some people who have really, really unhealed inner childs, which, like, no judgment. They just had a lot of needs unmet. They don't even know how to recognize like, oh, I'm hungry, I need to go eat a snack. So even just asking yourself like, how am I feeling? Hungry. What do I need to go get a snack? Like that can actually be a really groundbreaking thing to start to meet your own need in a very physical way, and not always emotional, right? Or maybe you're like, I need to cry. I'm going to go in my bedroom and cry. That can be just very, very powerful. I'm going to say that for daily habits to nurture your inner child. Is it normal to feel totally disconnected after an awakening? Abso-freaking-lutely. I think that, you know, when you go through a spiritual awakening, for me, what it feels like is like the tectonic plates of my brain have like completely shifted, and I look at the entire world differently, and my perception of just life itself is different. So give it some time. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, but I also know that the dust settles and you find your people, and everything doesn't feel so scary eventually. So just keep at it and try to find a mentor or people who get you so you can talk about this stuff and process, because we process a lot when we talk about things. This next one says, do you think we are destined to marry a specific person? You know, I think that we have soul contracts with certain people. In a way, yes. I kind of do believe that a lot of our life is predestined. I call them soul points on the soul map. It's like before you came, I do believe that you and your guides picked the core soul lessons that you're going to learn here on earth. And that kind of does involve some people that you might marry and divorce, or people you're going to get together and break up with, or key friendships or activators, I like to call them, like people who activated you on your path and like you're on a completely different path. So I do think that you're destined to marry a specific person, but that doesn't mean that there's not always more options, or it doesn't mean that you might divorce them and you might be destined to marry another person or something like that. You know what I mean? And I also think that it really is reliant on free will, in the sense of like, let's say you're destined to meet this person, but like you guys were supposed to meet in New York City, and then he decides that he doesn't want to move to New York City. Like, you're probably going to get somebody else to fill that role. This is literally just what's coming through my channel. You're going to have someone else to fill that role that is going to be a very similar frequency to teach you those same soul lessons. So that's my take on it. So I guess my overall take is yes and no. It's not really clear, but I guess we'll never really know. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing with some spiritual information, guys. It's like, it's so contradicting that I really feel like you have to just tap into your heart and feel what's true. I've actually been kind of going through this process myself, to be honest. I will listen to this person and then like they say this, and then I listen to this person and they say this, and it's completely two contradicting things. And I'm like, how about I just tap into my soul and feel what's true for me? So if something doesn't feel true for you, leave it out. I don't care. I want you to follow your soul. I'm always a proponent of that. Oh, I like this question. It says, how to differentiate between budgeting and scarcity mindset. So scarcity mindset. Oh God, I had a really big scarcity mindset, so I definitely know how to answer this. How I approach it is I already set up my auto saves and investments ahead of time. And then anything else that I have left over, I am allowed to use as fun money or pay for whatever I need. Now, with that being said, when you're in scarcity, a lot of times you can afford it. You just don't want to pay for it, or you think you can't afford it. So I like to just ask myself, can I really not afford this? Or maybe do I not want it that bad? Or am I just telling myself I can't afford it and I can? So to give you an example, this is a very small example, but you guys know I get coffee out like every single day. I've actually been making coffee at home more in California, but when I'm in Florida, we don't have the right machine. So I get coffee out every day. And when I started doing this, I used to feel so guilty for spending $7 every single morning. Like, wake up, spend $7. You know what I mean? And then I calculated how much it was to buy coffee every single morning. It was like $200 and some dollars. I think it was like $230. I don't know. You guys can do the math. To buy a $7 coffee every morning is like $200. And it makes me so happy. It makes me feel like the richest girl in the world to buy a $7 coffee in the morning and not think twice about it. And so what happened was I had to like just sit with myself, and I was like, I can afford to spend $200 on coffee every month. Like, I can afford that. So why am I feeling guilty? Why am I telling myself I can't afford it? And so what I ended up doing instead is I would spend that money, and I would just feel so grateful every morning that I get this beautiful, yummy coffee out that I didn't have to make. And I used to make it like a ritual and like my time to have fun with my money. Because when I was really talking to the energy of money, they were like, hey, I want you to have fun. Like, stop feeling guilty. We don't want you to spend us like that. Like, really have fun. So then I started having fun with my money and making it this beautiful time that we get to spend together. And it was just more of a vibe. So I would say asking yourself, do I really not have the money, or can I just not afford it? This one says how to fully let go and trust that everything is working out for the best. I really think having faith and trust in the universe is such a muscle. I don't really think that it's something that you turn on and off. And I talked about this in my last podcast with Kelsey. I think you have to train your brain to be like, wow, everything always works out. Wow, the universe really is on my side. Like, even in this moment, you can find 3 things of how the universe is working in your favor. You can find it, right? I'm going to do it right now. 3 ways that the universe is working in my favor. This morning, I slept in so hard and my back doesn't hurt today. I'm abundant in clothes. I have so many clothes here to pick from. And even though I kind of felt like I didn't pack enough clothes, like I really do have enough. I only wear one thing a day and I have so many options and I feel so abundant in that. And then also like look at all the air around me. I'm never going to run out of air. What a concept. Like I'm literally never going to run out of air. And that's really freaking cool that I'm always going to have enough air to breathe and I never have to worry about it. Really training yourself to like see the good, training yourself to be a positive person. And this is also coming from someone who is not innately just like naturally positive. So I understand how hard it is, but you also have to look back at like bigger parts of your life and be like, wow, everything that's happened that I thought was bad in the moment actually did turn out to be better than I anticipated. And this is where like divine neutrality comes in, because something that you could have perceived in a moment as the worst thing that's ever happened to you could then become the best thing that's ever happened to you. And all that has changed is your perspective on it because time has passed. So you're looking at it from new eyes. And I always remember that, like, the worst thing can always become the best thing. This one says how to raise your frequency. I'll just give like a couple quick tips. Number 1 is to heal your trauma. I love to use inner child work, shadow work, and really clear out the density because your frequency is held down by density in your body. Density is trauma and limiting beliefs and self-doubt. All those negative emotions are density, right? First one is healing your trauma. You're going to naturally raise your frequency to just vibrate at a higher level. 2, you can use like tools, right? Like music or even podcasts can help raise your frequency because you're listening to higher vibrational conversations. And then also how you eat. If you're eating alive food, you're going to feel more alive. If you're eating dead food, you're going to feel more dead, kind of, you know what I mean? You're going to feel more density. So I think those are 3 quick tips to raise your frequency. This one says tips to manifest money. I would say number 1 is making sure that you have ways that money can come through, because if you're just like, I want to manifest money, but you know you're not going to get more money from your job and you don't have a side job and you're like, how is the money going to come through? Is it just going to like fall on the floor? You know, you have to make sure you have avenues for money to flow. And then number 2 is start looking for ways that you are abundant without money, because true wealth and true abundance has nothing to do with money. And if you really understand that, then you're going to understand how to make money, because I know that my abundance lives in my heart. I can have $0 and I am still abundant. Does that make sense? And if you really want to learn more about this, my Abundance Codes Masterclass is going to give you a complete paradigm shift on how to uplevel your mindset in terms of when it comes to money and wealth and abundance. And that is in the Alignment Academy membership. It was typically $222, and you can get it if you join for way less, along with 6 other masterclasses. So hop in. What does experiencing a lack of money reflect about yourself? It actually reflects that you don't value yourself. Money, when I see someone with a lot of money, I'm like, oh, they really value themselves. They really believe that they're worthy. So yeah, I think that for me, true abundance is like me knowing my worth and knowing my value. What daily habits do you recommend to change and uplevel your life? I think that this is really hard as like a one size fits all, to be honest, because I don't think that everyone's built the same. So I think that it's really dependent on who you are as a person. But I'll tell you my daily habits that make me feel like my higher self. Movement every single day. When I don't move, I just feel like the day is not complete. Like when I exercise, especially in the morning, I feel my best. I do try to meditate every day. I used to be really, really strict, and now I'm a little less strict than I used to. So I would say I meditate 5 to 6 days out of the 7 a week, but I'm also on like kind of just a season of being in my feminine and practicing being in my feminine, which just requires less discipline and structure because I'm so disciplined and structured in so many other areas. So I need some places where I just like can have a little more ease, but I really do feel my best when I meditate, especially to inner child meditations. I do a lot of shadow work still. I do some Joe Dispenzas. You guys know what I do. So that is going to be the 2 things that really, really make me feel good. Some other just maybe human things is I drink like a lot of electrolytes. I use Element, not sponsored or anything, but I love their products. I honestly wish they would sponsor me because I drink an Element literally every single day. And I also bring them on all my retreats, things like that. What else? Eating a lot of fruit. I just love fruit. I eat a lot of fruit. Watermelon, bananas, apples, strawberries, blueberries. I eat a lot of fruit. Yeah, those are some quick and easy tips. What made the biggest shift in your personal development journey? Ooh, this is such a good question. Honestly, I think consistency with inner work. And I know I sound like a broken record, but when I really look at like what made the biggest shift, especially in my confidence and my spiritual practices, those years that I did inner child work 5 to 7 days a week, they made me the person I am today. And I will stand behind that. Like they truly shaped me as a person because I created such a strong foundation of self-trust, of discipline, of confidence, of meeting my own needs. And God, I went through a lot in those years. I was losing friends. I was starting my business. I was so triggered all the time. It hurt to show up. Like I was so in so much pain all the time. So that was one of the big things that helped me on my personal development journey. Also mentorship. Like guys, I almost always have a mentor that I'm learning from very deeply. And I really believe that mentorship speeds up your process. Like I always believe you can do it alone, but why? Right? So that has really made the biggest impact on my development journey. And then I would say the other one is like really taking action. The reason I've gotten as far as I have is because when I have an idea, like I want to do something like start a business or create an offer, my time between idea and execution is so short. And I truly think that that's the secret to life. So many people will sit in that like in between period and be like, maybe not. I'm going to fail. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. Like, it's just this constant back and forth, and they usually talk themselves out of it. And so when you really just learn how to take action and fail fast and fail forward, you are going to speed up your life and your manifestations so freaking much. So those have been the biggest things, very 3D things that I really wanted to keep simple and practical because, I could say like all these like little magical becoming my higher self stuff, but it's like, those are not always the thing that move the needle. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we have to just be really, really honest with ourselves and be like, I actually just need to heal and take action. And that's really what I've been coming back to with spirituality right now is like a ton of it can be very, very, very distracting from the goal, which is to get close to God and find yourself and heal and find yourself as God. All of those things are really the root of why spirituality existed in the first place. And I honestly personally unfollowed a lot of people that I felt were kind of sharing irrelevant content that veered me away from, again, the actual goal of spirituality, which was to get closer to God. And a lot of getting closer to God is surrendering to what is. That's what I've been finding. It's actually just seeing the beauty in everything, looking at everything as perfect, and surrendering to what is. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I know we kind of went on a tangent, but what blocks could be causing our body to hold on to weight? This is a great question. I think it's probably different for everyone, but I would say the root of it, what's coming through is like a lack of safety, like wanting to protect yourself with the weight. Yeah, that's what's coming through. I'm just going to keep it simple. I want to show up in my new business. How can I move on if fear of sharing my voice/face? Fear of being seen. Honestly, you should join Scared to Seen. I'm going to be blunt. Like without inner work, you're not going to get past this because fear of being seen is basically shame for being your authentic self. And that is such deep rooted stuff that it's really, really deep in your subconscious mind. And I don't want to say you're not, but like the likelihood of you being able to get past that with just like action is so slim because your unconscious mind doesn't feel safe and your unconscious mind doesn't do anything that makes you feel unsafe. It would rather feel safe than follow your dreams, right? And so what you need to do is do the inner work, inner child and shadow work, and then slowly, little by little, increase your capacity to show up online. And I walk you through that process in Scared to Seen. Also, if you join Alignment Academy membership, you get a discount on Scared to Seen, and it's self-paced right now. It's a 6-week course where every single week you show up little by little by little by little. And Scared to Seen is like one of my most loved programs for overcoming the fear of being seen. And honestly, I always tell my clients, this is tough love, but like if you are having trouble with fear of being seen, you know that it's a trauma thing and you're not doing anything to heal it. You're choosing that. You don't want it bad enough. You're not in enough pain. You don't want to do your business bad enough. Because I know when I had fear of being seen, I was doing inner child work 7 days a week to overcome it. I was like, this is not going to be the thing that makes me not do this. And so it takes a lot of fucking commitment, but you can overcome it if you are actually committed to it. And if you're actually not, you won't. Honestly, it's so deep. It's such a deep wound, but I really, really want you to heal. So try that out. Scared to Seen. Do you ever / often practice EFT? I have before, never consistently. I've done it like maybe for a week consistently. All right, guys, the truth is it's not scientifically proven. I've looked it up. I researched it. There's no scientific studies on EFT that are really like science backed that it works or changes your energy or anything. And at this point, I just do so many things that are scientifically proven, like Joe Dispenza meditations and subconscious reprogramming and hypnosis, that like I really only use and teach what works. So nothing against it. It's just not my modality. However, if it helps you, go for it. How to overcome the fear of being seen and start sharing on social media. I'm going to say the same thing. Join Scared to Seen, and also you have to do the unconscious work to heal your inner child and integrate your shadow. Most powerful manifestation methods: scripting, subliminals, journaling, etc. And it's not that I don't believe in them, but I don't really do any of those. What I do is I become the thing that I want. I literally become the thing that I want, right? You guys already know I follow a lot of Joe Dispenza in terms of manifestation, and that's really the only thing that has worked for me. I will say though, I have a lot of one-on-one clients where they come to me and they want to work with me because they're doing Joe Dispenza and they still can't manifest. And it's a lot of times inner child wounds, because you can't out vibrate your inner child wounds. That's the thing. Those things are so deep, so that like even if you're like acting abundant and wealthy, but like you have a subconscious belief that you're not worthy of money or money is hard to make, you're not going to be able to manifest money. So what I do to manifest is clear my blocks with inner child work, and I do Joe Dispenza meditations. Substitutes for alcohol when going to events. Is microdosing I think it's supposed to be appropriate for events? This is a great question. I actually love kava, guys. If you've never heard of kava, it's this root vegetable that gives you like this buzzy, warm feeling that's like very open-hearted. I have been drinking it a lot with my friends. There's a lot of kava bars in San Diego, and I have been on a mushroom break since May. So May, June, July. So for 3 months, I haven't done any mushrooms because they don't want to work with me right now. I think it's because I'm in my human era, but I've been doing a lot of kava. So I recommend kava. I think you can order some online, but look in your area too. You might have a kava bar. Your opinion on spirituality and alcohol. Does alcohol harm the soul connection? Okay, so let's talk about it. I'll tell you my opinion on alcohol. My opinion is that alcohol is actually neutral. It's a tool. What I mean by that is that alcohol is going to show you a lot. So if you're a type of person who gets super drunk and acts like a freaking biatch, that's a tool. What inside of you is making you act like that? What shadows or inner child wounds are making that version of you come out? You can use it like that. For me, when I drink, I used to not drink at all. Now I drink sometimes. I would probably say I drink, I don't know, once every 2 months, maybe once every 3 months. And it's usually like one drink, if that. Honestly, sometimes I don't drink for 6 months and like, it's whatever. I don't know. It just like depends. And honestly, when I have a drink, like nothing out of the ordinary happens, nothing bad happens. But let's be honest, the frequency of alcohol is pretty low. So I don't feel great for the next 2 to 3 days. So that's why I don't really do it often. However, I don't think it's a good or bad thing. I think it's just a tool. You should see what it's bringing up in you. Are you acting differently? Are you doing things differently? There's a lot of information you can get from alcohol too. So some tips though is like I like to ground my alcohol, clear my alcohol, get any of the negative energies out. And I also like to shield myself because it does open a portal for other entities and things like that to get in. So just be careful with it. Dreams, recurring people, situations, uncomfy emotions after waking up. Oh, this is a good question. I'm pretty sure this girl, Gabriella, hi Gabriella, has she kind of went into it a little bit more in my DMs, but she was asking me I have people from my past who I really thought I was over. And I thought I was over, the loss of them coming up in my dreams. And this has actually happened to me a lot. A lot of times when people from your past are coming up in your dreams, it's sometimes unresolved emotions that are just trying to resolve themselves. That's just, I think, why people come into your dreams. You can also ask your council of light, which is your spirit guide team before bed, help me please resolve these emotions around XYZ if you're having dreams about someone over and over and over again, or help me understand what this means. And sometimes I have dreams about why I'm having dreams about them. And I feel like some people just live really deep in our subconscious and we're just playing out fears too. I play a lot of fears out in my dreams. My deepest fears get played out in my dreams. And I even have some premonition type dreams where I'm I get information and then it happens a couple weeks or a couple months later. So there's a lot of reasons. Dreams are one of those really weird things, but a lot of times it's just unresolved emotions. Okay, guys, I think I feel complete. That was a really, really fun Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned a lot. I will do Q&As often. They're honestly my favorite episodes to do because I love having something to kind of go off of versus just staring at the camera and, talking. And if you enjoyed this is exactly kind of what the Q&A can be inside of the membership Alignment Academy. So if you are wanting to join, the link is below. I'm so grateful to spend time with you guys for another week. I will see you guys next week. And as always, I love you. Mwah. Bye.